Hello and welcome to another exciting Amy training session. My name is Jeremy Ham, and I'll be in the driver's seat today as I walk you through the new sales order feature. Now, many of you are familiar with the existing version of the sales order. It looks and acts very much like a work order, and because of that, it was just okay. The new sales order gives you more flexibility for your orders. So what's new with this module? Well, for starters, the ability to generate a quick quote for in-stock items. This is a super fast way to quote your excess inventory that you might list with services like EE Direct. You can also assign a sales rep to an order. This is handy if you pay commissions to your sales folks. You can now also add shipping information, which is very useful if you need to ship the order someplace other than your customer's default address. You can also add shipping methods and shipping accounts to the order. We've also added a sourcing section. This allows you to source a line item to either an inventory line or a particular vendor or any open purchase order that's incoming for that part. The new system also allows you to create pick tickets and pack slips. And finally, we've added NonPart Services. This is an extremely useful tool when you have one customer that requires several work orders at one time. A good example is if you're doing IFR certs for a flight school. You can create one line item, attach several internal or cost-only work orders, and only issue one invoice. This really simplifies invoicing and payments. Now, before you flood me with emails about tweaks and upgrades, please keep in mind that we know there's room for improvement with this module. There are other features included with this release that you folks have been asking for a while, and we just wanted to get this release out as soon as possible. Before we get started with the new sales order feature, I want to show you how to turn on the attendance time clock in case you're ready to start using it. It's super simple. Just go to Setup Info and Defaults, go to the Company Data tab, then select the checkbox for attendance clocking and press the Update button. Now that that's out of the way, there's a lot to learn with the new sales order feature, so let's get started. We're going to start with a quick quote from inventory. To get started, go to your inventory list and select the part number that you're quoting. One quick thing you're going to notice is that in the inventory, the layout is a little bit different. If you open the inventory master card, you're going to see that we added the list price. This will be the default sell price unless the sell price in the inventory detail line has been populated. Now, check the checkbox for that line item and press the quick quote button. Now, start typing your customer's name in and select the record. And then all you gotta do now is just press the submit button. It's that easy. If the customer is not in your system, you will need to add them in the old-fashioned way. We are going to add a quick add from the screen, but we're going to do that at a later time. Now on the quote, make any updates to pricing and add any adjustments you might want, like maybe a credit card fee or something. Next, go to your customer documents and review the quote. One of the main tricks with this new pony is that unlike the previous sales order, any changes made on the main tab will automatically be reflected in this document. There's no need to delete and generate new ones. Next, select your footer and press issue. Now you're ready to email or download that quote. For now, you will probably spend more time adding new customers than creating quotes from your excess inventory. The next type of quote we're going to introduce is a quote for something that's not in your inventory or a brokered sale. This can cover anything from parts to watches. To get started, add a quote from any place where you would typically generate a new quote. Select the sales order radio button and then add your customer. Once the page loads, press the Add Part button. Then enter in your part number. If it's in your system and you know about it, it's going to pre-fill the description. If not, add the description and a quantity. If you know the sell price, go ahead and add that now. If not, no big deal. You can add it later. Now just press the Submit button. When you know where you're going to get the part from and you know what your cost is, you need to go to the sourcing icon. Scroll down to availability and press the big blue plus button. Fill in the appropriate fields and press the submit button. Now just enter the quantity that you're selling in the sourcing quantity, head back to the top of the page and press another submit button. From this page, you can also add sourcing from existing inventory or any open purchase orders for this part as well. Like with customers, if the vendor is not already in your system, you will need to add them in the old-fashioned way. But what's really nice is once you know your sourcing cost and your sell price, the sales to order page is going to calculate your estimated GP for this order. Now repeat the same steps we covered for issuing a quick quote, and you're done. That takes care of quoting parts. So now let's move on to the sales order. From a quote page, go to Actions and select Initiate a Sales Order. Once the page loads, you can add shipment methods or a shipping account number, and you can even edit the ship address if needed. Next, add a purchase order number if one's been provided by the customer. You can even change the default terms from this order. If the part has not been sourced on a sales order, you must do so now. Press the sourcing icon and select which line you want to have picked, and then press the Submit button. Now you will need to issue the sales order by pressing the Issue Sales Order button to allow picking for that line. Anytime you make a change to the source record for a line, you will need to reissue the sales order. Once issued, you are now ready to pick the part, and you can press the famous picnic basket to open the pick page. Enter in the number that you're picking and press the Pick Parts button, then press the sales order link at the top of the page to return to the sales order. And once everything's been picked, select the Prep Pack checkbox, then press the Pack and Ship button. If you have several lines, you can go ahead and click the Check All checkbox, and that's going to kind of select everything on the page. Now, from the packing page, you're going to enter in a box number, the weight of that box, and a tracking number. If you have multiple boxes, no problem. Press the green plus button to add more. After you enter in your boxes, enter in the box number into the parts to ship line. This is great for tracking purposes, especially if you have multiple lines. Now, add a shipping charge. If you have other fees, such as a hazmat fee, or like we call around here a HAR fee, press the green plus button and add as many fees as you need. If you have an adjustment already added, like a credit card fee, do nothing. Those fees will carry over automatically to the invoice. Once all the necessary fields have been populated, press the Save and Process Shipment button. If for whatever reason you need to pause the packing process because maybe you need a lunch, or you just found out another episode of the Amy Show is dropped, or there's a cute cat video on Facebook, you can always press the Save and Continue Later button. Now, once you've pressed the Save and Process Shipment button, this is going to take you to the Ship Detail page. If everything looks good, go ahead and issue the invoice. This page is also where all the paper that needs to go into the box is going to be generated. Pack slip, any certs, and anything that's going to be printed is going to be done from this page. Pro tip: when emailing the invoice to your customer, it's always good to include the tracking number. Just copy it from the tracking information area and paste it into the email form. The only difference between this process and a brokered sales order is that the sourcing is going to run through the fulfillment. If you need information on the fulfillment process, please check the manual, and we already have a video for that online. Now let's cover the sales order for a non-part service. Quoting works exactly the same as an inventory item, except for you press the Add Service button instead of the Add Part button. Now press that Add Service button and start typing in the service for the work to be performed. If the service does not exist, which if you're watching this video, it probably doesn't, go ahead and fill that description out as well. Now this is going to save it for later, so the next time you do this, it'll be available for you to select. The next thing you want to do is add a quantity and sell price. For this example, I'm going to select an IFR cert from the list. And to speed things up a little bit, I'm just going to do one, and I'm going to sell it for the low price of $985. And now I'm going to press the Submit button. When sourcing the non-part service, you can source to either an internal work order or outsource it to an external source. I'm going to do an internal work order, so I'm going to create a work order for this service. I'm going to press the plus button next to the Add Internal WO. Now just create a work order like you normally would. When you're done, the page is going to refresh, and there's going to be a link for that work order tied to the sales order. Now just open the work order and do the work. Now, this next bit is super important. The work order must be closed in order to bill against it. So go back to the sales order page and look at your cost. You're going to see only the cost of the work performed and the cost of any parts added. If this is a labor only work order and the cost is blank, you're going to need to go to your user settings and add job costing rates. So let's invoice this bad boy now. So what we want to do is we want to select the Add to Bill checkbox and press the Add to Bill button, which is going to load us on the pack page detail. Now it does this because you may have parts you're selling along with this service, and this gives you an opportunity to go ahead and pack those as well. So once you're done, press the Save and Process Bill button, and now you're on the invoice page. If you check the certification package, you're going to see all the logbook entries created from all the work orders you did in association with the sales order, and they are now ready to be print and signed. You can also check the invoice line item, and I want you to see something. It's going to contain the tail number for each work order that was performed for the sales order. It's a lot of orders, I know. Sorry, you should have to try saying them all at once. Now, the last piece of this puzzle is the new customer RMA. Because this is a very tricky process, please contact me directly for a walkthrough on this process. Otherwise, this could be a 10-hour video. Nobody wants that. Okay, that's going to wrap things up. If you have any questions about the new sales order feature, please feel free to rewind this video and watch it again. I'm just kidding. You can contact me anytime if you need any extra help or personal training on this particular feature. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.